Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Inshallah ta'ala, as I mentioned last week, that in our journey through Quran series, because we have only 3 weeks left before the blessed month of Ramadan, so we'll try to do some small surahs from the back of the Quran, the Juz Amma, so that this surah we recite every day in our prayers, and I hope and I know that almost every one of you know this surah, and so that's why we should understand at least a little bit of the background and the wisdom of this surah, so that when we recite in our prayer, we can bring some khushu in it. As soon as you know some, the wisdom behind this, this is the story connected with this surah. Inshallah ta'ala, if you think about that, you're reciting this surah, it will come a khushu in your prayer. So today, we'll do a very, very short surah and a very famous surah of the Quran, Suratul Ikhlas. So Surah Ikhlas, as you all know, and as I mentioned before, all the kids, when a child starts to learning Quran, just after Fatiha, I think the first surah they learn, either Suratul Ikhlas or Suratul Kawthar. So this amazing surah, Suratul Ikhlas, only have 4 ayah, and inshallah ta'ala we'll go through that. What is so much wisdom behind this surah? What is so important about this surah? There are so many hadiths narrated about this surah. And these hadiths are almost known to you, and inshallah ta'ala we'll go through them as quickly as possible. The first thing of the surah that I want to mention, of Surah Al-Ikhlas, they recite the surah, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Now you all know the meaning. This is just one of the translations that say Allah saying to Rasulullah, say Qul, He is Allah the one and unique, Allah who is need of none and whom all are need. So and then Allah is saying He neither begot or nor He was begotten, and we'll talk about this the phrase begotten, and no one is comparable to Him. So a very simple translation, as you all know this translation. Now, the thing that I wanted to, if you open up, YouTube or internet or any books, you will find lots of tafsir about this. But my intention is to, because we, after the prayer, we brother gather together here. So, I feel like, if I can concise those things a little bit and, present it in a 15 to 20 minutes time, inshallah it's more easy to remember. And the main intention that, the time and effort that I'm putting, I wish that, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me some reward, and also give all of you reward that you are sitting here and listening to this small dars. So let's start with the surah, and I'll just mention few important things of the surah before we go into the surah itself. The first thing of the surah is that the connection with the previous surah. As I mentioned before, almost all of the surah in the Quran has a connection to the other surah. For us, for normal people, we look like, okay, the Quran probably disorganized. Okay, first start with Surah Fatiha, then the biggest surah, Surah Al-Baqarah, then 3-4 big surah, then come a small surah, and then in the story of Yusuf, then a story of Kahf, and all these things. Sometimes we don't see what is the connection. But definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a plan, because He said He has reserved the Quran for it is His responsibility to preserve the Quran, and He preserved the Quran in this way. That the Surah Fatiha will be first, then will be Baqarah, then will be Ali Imran, then will be Nisa, and all these things. Yes, scholars have opinion of who made this arrangement. Some scholars have opinion of Sahaba, later on they made this arrangement. So they are the one, like Usman, especially at the time of Usman, he put this and some other Sahaba together. They make this organization. But this is a weak opinion. The strongest opinion is that no, Rasulullah himself did this, because we know from the other hadith, in the last year of his time, when Jibril came to him, he recited the Quran twice. So the full Quran twice he did it with Jibril alayhi salam, and he recited the same way. And he told us, after the Fatiha is Baqarah and everything. So that's the way it's been organized by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the surah before Ikhlas is the surah. Which surah is that before Ikhlas? Surah Lahab. Yeah. Tabbad yada abi lahabi wa tab. So the one simple connection, you can see that the rhythmic term, Tabbad yada abi lahabi wa tab, ma agna anhu wa ma kasad. The last one, it says the masad, kasab, all these things match with the same one here. Then Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul Allahu samad. So the literary pattern, the rhythmic pattern is matched here. Another important thing that scholar mentioned, that with the Lahab and the connection of Surah Al-Ikhlas, that in the Lahab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned an individual we all know who is Abu Lahab. He was the uncle of Prophet Islam, and he was the arch enemy to Rasulullah. He was the open enemy to Rasulullah. He was his personal enemy basically. At that time, whole Makkah, whole Quraysh tribe is still not behind, is still not against Rasulullah. They still think that okay, probably he's going through some magic or something. They are not against him because Islam is not established like it's established in Medina. But Abu Lahab is the only one. He is after Rasulullah. He is the one who said Batara Muhammad. When Rasulullah lost his son, he is the one. He said Muhammad is cut off from his ummah. He doesn't have any son and everything. He is the one, and his wife is the one who did so many things. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is saying here that look, I have taken care of Abu Lahab. This is going to happen with Abu Lahab. And now your job is to next focus on your main goal. What is your job? What is the job of a Rasulullah? His job is to spread the message of the Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, the message of the Tawheed. And that's why Allah bring this surah just after the Suratul Lahab, to make sure that your personal problem has been dealt with. You now focus on your main mission, the main goal of your prophethood. Number 3, the link with Fatiha. Some of the scholars say because this is almost the last surah, because after Suratul Ikhlas there are only 2 more surah, and we done the surah Falak and Nas. Some of the scholars mention a very nice connection with Surah Fatiha, because it's the end of the surah. Surah Fatiha is the beginning of the Quran, and some scholars say Surah Fatiha we start with Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. If you look at this ayah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin, Alhamdulillah, Allah mentioned His name Allah. And then he said, Rabb of Alamin, Rabb of the whole world. Okay, so Allah mentioned His name Allah, and then He mentioned His attribute Rabb, that He is the Rabb of everything. And these 2 names has been explained in the last 3 surah. In the Qul Hu Allahu Ahad, Allah mentioned the Allah word again, and Allah give His description. Who is Allah? Allah is Ahad. Allah is Samad. He has nobody. So the Allah word over there in Fatiha has been explained with the Surah Qul Hu Allahu Ahad. And the Rabb word, the Rabb means what is this Rabb? And Allah described the word Rabb in so many places. And then in the last 2 surah Allah said, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Allah didn't mention the word Allah over there. Allah mentioned the word Rabb. So some scholars say just to explain the first ayah, Allah put these 3 surahs here. Now the last 10 surah of the Quran, I had this talk long before the starting from Suratul Fil, Alam tara kaifa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. From there to the end, all this surah, if you look at the stories of the surah and the theme of the surah, they are all connected with Rasulullah's own life. Like Alam Tara, the surah Fil, what is the story? The story of the Kaaba, that some king wants to come and destroy it. So that is his own city. Then we say Li Laifi Quraysh. Allah talking about the who? Quraysh. Who's Quraysh? The tribe of Rasulullah. Then we mentioned the surah Ara'ayta allazi yukazzibu bid-din, and over there we mentioned, some of scholars said this is also about the Abu Lahab. All the nature of the Quraysh, they used to push the orphan. So all talking about the Makkah. Then we have Inna Ta'ina Kal Kawsar. That is the explicit surah only for Rasul. It's a gift for Rasulullah. The Kawsar is a gift for Rasulullah in that surah. And then we have Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun. You also know the story of that surah. That people come, the Quraysh came and seriously, I have a deal. Let's have a deal. You worship our God, I worship your God. Make a deal like this, and the story. So all this surah connected with the seerah of Rasulullah. And when the last 10 surah talk about the seerah of Rasulullah, you should understand that when a conflict go between for a long time, meaning Rasulullah has a conflict with the Quraysh for a long time. It's not 1 year or 2 years. It's been 13 years before he passed to Medina. In these 13 years, when people fight, they struggle, sometimes people forget what is their main purpose of life. So Allah, as if then Allah tried at the end of the Musaf, Allah is trying, all this story in the Quran, all the story of the fighting of the other prophets, the fighting of the Muslim, the Badr, Uhud, all the description, everything. Remember, after all this thing, Qul huwallahu ahad. This is the main thing. As long as you have Qul huwallahu ahad, you understand this, then you understand the whole of the other story, the wisdom of the other surah, other incidents and everything. The next thing is that the pair of Ikhlas. As I mentioned before, a lot of surah in the Quran has a pair surah. Like Surah Baqarah has a pair. What is the pair of Surah Baqarah? Which surah is pair with Surah Baqarah? Anybody knows? Remember? Ali Imran, the next surah. Surah Baqarah is paired with Ali Imran. Surah Nisa is paired with Surah Al-Ma'idah. Okay? Like this Surah Ikhlas is paired with which surah? I know you know this surah. Especially Kafirun, yes. Surah, Ikhlas is paired with Kafirun. But why Kafirun? Most of the pair surah is placed in the Quran one after the another. One after the another. But this one is a bit different. Why we'll talk about a little bit about this one, because it's important to know. Because this is a great sunnah. Even if when you were going to Hajj, if you remember the lectures before you went to Hajj, when you make the tawaf, after the tawaf, what do you do? Pray 2 rakah sunnah behind the Maqam al-Ibrahim. What are the 2 surah you recite? First rakah Kafirun, second rakah Ikhlas. Even in the Fajr prayer, the greatest sunnah of the whole day, Rasulullah said, whoever pray 2 rakah sunnah in the Fajr time, he will get everything between the heavens and the earth, as if it is the heavens and earth. And in these 2 surah, he used to recite in first rakah Surah Al-Kafirun, and second rakah is Ikhlas. Even in the Witr prayer, when Rasulullah used to pray Witr for 3 rakah, first rakah he used to say Sabbih Isma Rabbikal A'la, and the second and the third rakah he used to say Kafirun and Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So that the scholars talk a lot about the why Rasulullah, and he used to repeat this a lot. In his sunnah, it's not like one time. He used to do it almost every Fajr and everything, and he used to advise people to do so. Why is so? So the scholar says, the Kafirun surah talked about all the kuffar at that time, the Quraysh who has been rejected the faith. Okay, so that is a matter of the collective matter. And here in Fatiha, Allah is talking about His own. Allah is one. He's one Ahad. So a group of people, and over there, if you remember, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun la a'budu ma ta'budun. Over there, Allah never mentioned His name. Allah saying, the translation is, what I worship, ma ta'budu, wa antum a'budun. What I worship, you don't worship that. What you worship, I don't. Allah didn't mention Allah said what. Allah didn't say what God you worship. Allah didn't mention the God, ilaha or nothing over there. So the answer of that is here in the Qul Huwallahu Ahad. This what I worship, this is what I worship, which is Allah, and He is Allah. Allah is Hussama. That one explanation from one of the scholar. Another thing, I'll show you in a picture. In the Kafirun, after the Surah Kafirun, there are 2 surah. In the Kafirun, Allah distinguished between 2 sides. Allah said, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, at the end Allah said, Lakum dinukum waliyadin. Everybody know this ayah, right? Lakum dinukum waliyadin. You go in your path, it is your deen, this is my deen. Okay? So 2 ways come out from there. And for these 2 ways, Allah put 2 examples. The way of the Rasulullah, the way of the believer, the deen of us, people who believe Rasulullah, people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will have the nasr. For them is the victory. Iza za nasrullahi wal fath. You will get the fath, inshallah ta'ala, in this dunya, if not in the akhirah. And Rasulullah got this in dunya. He saw his eyes that people are coming in, thousands of number coming and taking Islam. So that's his victory. And people who are rejected the faith, people who are kafirun, the other part is the example of Lahab. They will be ended up as Abu Lahab. That's why tabbad yada abi lahab wa tab. So if you think like this way, there's 2 strain. One from internal, that is the nasr, the victory from Rasulullah. One is external enemy like Abu Lahab. Same way, Qul Huwallahu Ahad has 2 ends, Falak and Nas. And we mentioned this last week, that Tawheed is protected by 2 sides. External enemy, internal enemy. External enemy is mentioned in the Falak. That Allah said, Qul a'udhu bil falak, and those things that we don't have control over it, about the dark night, people who make magic and the black magic and all this thing, the jealousy of other people, we don't have any control of this. This is an external thing. You can't do anything about this. If I'm being jealous of you, if I do black magic on you, you have nothing to do. You don't even know. So those are protected by falak. And in Surah An-Nas, Qul a'udhu bin nas, malikin nas, the waswas of the shaitan. So Tawheed, Ikhlas has 2 trends, external, internal, and to protect those 2 lines, you have to have Falak and Nas. So these are the 2 ways that a scholar mentioned, that these are the 2 matters that connect, that make a pair of Kafirun and Suratul Ikhlas. Now the other names of the surah, there are 20 other names of Suratul Ikhlas, and most of these 20 names are given by the Sahaba. When Sahaba used to love a surah a lot, they used to give different names, even in their own time. And as I mentioned, out of the 20, most of them are given by the Sahaba. So I'm not going to go all of them, just the meaning of some of the surah. The first one is Mukashkish. Mukashkish means the one that removes any disease. It's like you can think of it like a medicine that takes the disease away from your body. So here, obviously, the Mukashkish means the one that's going to take shirk from your heart. The Qul Huwallahu Ahad will take shirk from your heart. And the same name, Mukashkish, is also given to the Suratul Kafirun. So that's another pair quality. The Suratul Kafirun has the same name, Mukashkish. They also call it because the Kafirun established who is in the right path, Lakum dinukum waliyadin. So that's the other name. Another name is Tafreed. Tafreed means, to make differentiate for an individual. So, Allah is talking about His own self. That is called Tafreed. Another is called Tajreed. Tajrid also means, to have the clear idea about what is right and what is wrong. And also Tawheed, that's the very easy to remember because it's about the Tawheed. And Ma'rifa. Ma'rifa means to know someone. So as if you don't know Ikhlas, you don't know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the name is Ma'rifa. Then Samad, the word is Samad here, and I mentioned before, this is the only place in the whole Quran this word has been used. You will never find this word anywhere else, and Allah used it for Himself, the word Samad. It's such a beautiful word that basically the meaning is that, the Samad meaning, when you come, I'll discuss, what is the meaning, but that is a unique word that's never been used anywhere. The Asas also mean, sometimes, you're removing darkness and everything. So that is, and also it says, the Sahaba says, there's a hadith from Islam. The Islam said that the heaven and the earth is established on Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And in that hadith, he used the word Asas. That, it's been established, that the whole world is established on the Tawheed, on Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And the last but not the least, this surah has a name called Surah An-Nur. And we know there is a surah called Surah An-Nur in the Quran already. And Allah Rasulullah mentioned that, in the Quran, there are some surah, He's giving some properties of the surah. Like about Surah Al-Baqarah, Islam said, everything has a peak in life. Everything in your life has a peak, like, the top point. Like the camel has a peak on the back, right? Something like this. So you go up and come down and go up and come down. Surah Baqarah is the peak of the surah. And about Qul Huwallahu, he said, this is the nur of the Quran. This is the light of the Quran, the Suratul Ikhlas. Now the love of this surah, the story, there's a lot of stories and regarding this surah, but I'll just mention the two stories about two companions, same kind of story. One of the companion was sent in an expedition, and he was being assigned as an Amir, and he used to lead the prayer. Every prayer before he go to ruku, every rakah, he used to pray Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So people say, why he always does this? He recite a big surah and then he said Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So they come and tell about this to Rasulullah, and Rasulullah asked him, he said, I love this surah so much, I can't leave it. So that's why I recite it. Same story, there was a Imam in his time, in the time of Rasulullah, in Masjid al-Quba. And this hadith is authentic, narrated by Anas ibn Radhiyallahu. He said that person who used to pray in the Quba, in the Masjid al-Quba, he also used to do, anytime after Fatiha, he used to pray Qul Huwallahu first. Then he used to go to any other surah. So one person used to do it before the ruku, other person just after the Fatiha, first pray Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And the same story, Rasulullah asked him, why do you do this? People get confused, they think, you're just doing the same surah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I find the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His blessings in this surah, and I love it too much, so I do this one. And then Rasulullah said, because of this love, you will be going to the Jannah. See, good tidings from Rasulullah. He already declared, just because of this love, this love for this surah, you will be going to Jannah. And when Rasulullah said that you will be going to Jannah, inshallah, you will be going to Jannah. And then also another famous hadith, as you all know, the Surah Al-Ikhlas is the 1/3 of the Quran. And why it is 1/3? It is a famous hadith that Rasulullah himself mentioned, and he repeated it few times. It's not one time, he repeated it to a lot of Sahaba. If you recite the Surah Al-Ikhlas, it is as if you have recited the 1/3 of the Quran. Why is that? Just a little bit of note on that. There are 3 types of message in the Quran. Mainly 3 types of message. The message about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the message about Akhirah, and the message about Risala. Risala includes the messengers, Risala includes the Malaika, Risala includes the books. These are the pillar of the Iman. So these are the 3 things mentioned in the Quran. This is the main 3 themes. If you say, okay, what are the main 3 themes of the Quran? These are the 3 things. So one of the things is Iman Billah, the believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's the Surah Ikhlas talk about that. So that's why it is the 1/3 of the Quran. Now, just this is the last part, the few words of the surah. I'm just going to quickly mention the first thing, the Allah, the word Allah. And we should all know at least a little bit about the word Allah. And the greatest scholar of the Islam, they have debates, about the word of Allah. Why the debate is? Because in Arabic language, there is something called, mushtaq. Mushtaq means a word is derived from another word. I'll give you a simple example. Alim means what? A wise man or a scholar or whatever, right? Alim, what comes from where? Ilm. Ilm means knowledge. So who have done the ilm, who has ilm, he is alim. So this is the root word ilm, and from ilm, another mushtaq what comes, alim. And some other words can be derived from that one. Something like this. So some scholars say, this is actually the Allah word is from another word. What's that word? Ilaha. If you have al and ilaha, in Arabic language, al means da. Like if you say, the book, al kitab, the house, the al-bayt. Okay, so al is mean the da. So they say al and ilaha together, you mix the word together, it's become Allah. That's their logic. Other groups say no, Allah is a unique word, and Allah revealed this word in every language is the same way as Allah, even the Hebrew and Aramaic language, and that is the strongest opinion. And they have different logics, they have different debates. One simple logic I will say to you: suppose the word is al and ilaha, as the other groups say. In Arabic, there's a rule in Arabic. When you call someone, you say ya. So ya rajul, ya walad. So you're calling someone ya Rahman, ya Allah. Even Allah will say ya Allah. But the rule is when you use the ya, you can't say al. You can say ya al rajul. You can say ya al officer, or you can say ya al imam. You can say ya imam, come here. Ya brother, ya akhi, come here. You cannot say ya al akhi. So if you say ya Allah, and ya Allah is everybody accepted as ya Allah. If you have ya, you cannot have al. So this the other second group say, the stronger group say, so this is not a join of two words. It is a unique word from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He taught this word to every prophet and every messenger. The next word is Aqul hu Allah, kul huwa. So huwa means He. Why Allah used the word He here? Just to mention the importance that it is Allah that we are talking about. And if anyone asks, okay, who is this God you are talking about? Who is this? So the answer is He is the God. And who is He? He is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the word ahad, as I mentioned before, ahad also is a special word in the Quran. It is used actually, come from the very similar word wahid. You all know wahid means what? One. In Arabic language, when you learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, one is wahid. So wahid is also one, ahad is one. What is the difference? The difference is if I say there is not one person in this masjid now. It could mean, okay, there is not one person, there is more than one person. So wahid means I can say that there is not one person in the masjid, mean it is maybe there's 2 person here, or maybe 10 person here. But whenever you use ahad, if I say la yuhibbu ahada, meaning there is no one is here. Ahad is a negative word basically. Ahad means there is no one at all present in the masjid. So that's why, but Allah used this word ahad as a positive for Him. Because it's not one, it's like no one at all. It's only Allah who worship. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word ahad. And as I mentioned, the samad is a unique word, and it's only used in this surah, no other place in the Quran. And it means the one who doesn't need anyone, but everybody needs Him. Everybody needs Him. Then the lam yalid wa lam yulad, the matter of giving birth and be begotten. And both the sentence, if you read the translation, it says in past tense. So say Allah did not birth. So Allah didn't give birth to anyone, and He was not born from anyone. Both of them are past tense. So when we say Allah was not born from anyone, that we understand, because the born, if I say when you were born, it's always a past tense. If you ask someone when you were born, obviously the situation is past tense. But why did Allah mention that He doesn't birth, or He doesn't give birth to anyone? It could be in the future, so that there's nobody do shirk in the future. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that, because all the religion before Islam has this notion about that Allah has someone, like Jesus, astaghfirullah, they say Jesus is the son of Allah. One group, a big group of Jewish people say Wazir is the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The mushrik of Makkah used to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the angels as their daughter, as His daughter, ma'azallah. So all this thing happened in the past. And some scholar mentioned, by saying this in the past tense, this is a prediction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that in this world, till the day of judgment, there will be no religion that will claim that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a son or a daughter or something. No one will claim that. There will not come any new religion saying that John is a son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Astaghfirullah. No, like this. Everything is in the past. Whatever they are saying about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Christian group, the Jewish group or other group, this all in the past. Nothing will happen in the future. No other religion will come like this. And the last one is the kufuwan ahad. Kufu means is a comparable thing. And it's interesting, in old Arabic language, a spouse is called in kufu. One spouse is kufu to other. Kufu basically means if I and you have the same kind of capability, we both know how to fight with the sword. So we are both like a skillful sword fighter. In that case, kufu is used like two people with the same skill is fighting. Okay, something like this called kufu. But Allah mentioned that there is no kufu to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one and only. There is no compare with Him at all and at all and at all. So inshallah ta'ala, this is in short the story and the wisdom of Surah Ikhlas. And we should understand, the ahad word is, because it's Qul huwa Allahu ahad, and one of the name of the surah is also tawhid and ahad. We should internalize in our life, because as I mentioned before, it is easy to say that Allah is one. It is easy to believe, easy to say Allah is one, but we should make sure that He really is one in our life. We are only worshipping Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine the story of Bilal. He didn't know any other Quran or anything. And if he used to say, when people, his master used to beat him, if he used to say, I believe in Allah, if he used to say that, they wouldn't have beaten him. Because the Quraysh, of the mushrik of the people, they knew the word Allah. They believe Allah is the God. Their problem is the other 360 God is the partner of Allah. They never deny with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know, yes, there is a God who gives the, Allah mentioned in the Quran, ask them who send rain from the sky. And la yakunna, they will say, it is Allah. And who make the heavens and the sky? They will say, Allah. But their problem is, they are making the other gods, then Lat and Uzza Manna with the thing. But when Bilal said, Ahadun Ahad, then they had a problem. Ahadun Ahad means there is no one else. Only Allah is my God. When Bilal was saying that time, his master got angry. Oh, you are rejecting all our gods and saying Ahadun Ahad? Then he started beating him. And that is the word that brings the whole of Islam. That is the word Ahad, the Tawheed is the main thing of Islam. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand the meaning of this surah and bring it in our life. So inshallah ta'ala, next time when you pray, in your prayer, the Surah Ikhlas, try to understand the meaning and give its proper life. Because maybe, just because if you can grow love for this surah, maybe just like that Sahaba, inshallah ta'ala, Allah will forgive all other sins and give us the Jannatul Firdaus. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.